Krystia Freeland on the board of trustees for the World Economic Foundation. Is that a conflict of interest? I don't know. You tell me. Personally, I feel like it very much is when you're the Deputy Prime Minister of the Canadian government, as well as you are on the board of trustees of the World Economic Foundation, which is completely at odds with our ethos as Canadians, and we're going to get into that. What are we looking at over here? There's the World Economic Foundation right at the bottom. She is a member of the forum's Board of Trustees. Here's the announcement from 2019 where it says the Board of Trustees is the highest level governance body of the World Economic Forum. So that's January 2019, which is 3 years ago. Before I continue, I just want to put it out there that I really feel for the people, no matter where you are in any part of the world, that you're suffering, and war is wrong 100% any time of the day. I want to make that very clear. But at the same time, there are great powers that are trying to manipulate everything, including the media right now, and trying to lead us down a certain path, okay? But what I'm doing is we're focusing here on Canadian politics right now, and we're going to keep focusing on that regardless of what's going on, because think global, act local. That's sort of what I'm doing here, you know what I mean? I'm raising my own chickens in my own backyard. To keep up to date with Freedom News, go to wcfreedom.com, and if you'd like to support us, then the best way to do that is to take a look at Vestige and BULLETMAKER. I'm very proud of these, and of course, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Is this the Russian military ready to attack Ukrainians? No. This is Ottawa police ready to attack Canadians. This is not that long ago. This is about a week ago. So are we supposed to forget all of a sudden? Is that right? Are we supposed to forget that here at home we're losing our freedoms? This is Krystia Freeland. She deleted this tweet. So originally she was standing here. Sunday she put this up. She was at the Toronto protest on the 27th. She was standing here with a red and black flag over here, which is very controversial. She deleted this. It's some kind of nationalist organization, which we're going to look at an article from ABC News. She deleted this tweet. I would love to have some information on why. I would love for her to speak about it. I don't think she will. Here's that banner zoomed in. I would love it if you commented and told me what this is. Is it linked to this article? You tell me. Ukraine nationalists march to honor wartime partisan leader. Hundreds of Ukrainian nationalists held a torchlight march in the capital of Kiev to mark the birthday of Stefan Bandera, the leader of a rebel militia that fought alongside Nazi soldiers in World War II. I want to know. You tell me. Is that related? We got Theo Fleury over here. Hey, everybody, do you still remember what happened last week? The Emergencies Act was invoked. Well, I haven't forgotten. Now let's take it to 2014. Blacklock's reporter, great organization here in Ottawa, they did an interview with her in 2014, Krystia Freeland, and here are a few choice excerpts. My legal name is Christina. Though I was born into a Ukrainian family, it was considered appropriate to have a more English-sounding name. I changed it back to Krystia. I still feel that duty to Ukraine. I am convinced that it is going to be through Ukraine that Russia becomes democratic. And speaking of which, I would love it if Canada was not so authoritarian at this point. That's my little rebuttal for that. Ukrainian was my first language. I went to Ukrainian school and learned Ukrainian history. I even went to Ukrainian Girl Guides. Later at university in Boston, I taught a Ukrainian class. My children now attend a Ukrainian school in Toronto. Okay, so she's a Ukrainian nationalist. That's what it sounds like to me. Is that at odds? I have a question for you. Is that at odds? Is that at odds with the fact that she's the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada? Should you be such a strong nationalist for another country, as well as being, of course, on the Board of Trustees for the WEF? Where do those loyalties, where do they conflict, and what do you decide? This is my personal belief. I was raised to be part of this country, okay, Canada, and I was raised that my loyalties have to be first and foremost to Canada. Maybe I'm wrong. You let me know in the comments, but I don't know how you're actually going to resolve that issue. 2016, Justin Trudeau talked about having no national identity, that Canada was the first post-national state. Well, let's look at his quote. Late last year, Justin Trudeau told the New York Times, this is from 2016, so 2015. Late last year, Justin Trudeau told the New York Times that Canada is becoming a kind of country not defined by our heritage or European national origins, but by a pan-cultural heritage. There's no core identity, no mainstream in Canada, Trudeau said, concluding that he sees Canada as the first post-national state. I take a lot of issue with this. I absolutely disagree. Canadians have a shared identity 100%. You can do that just by traveling through the world, and you will quickly understand that Canadians really do have that. And if you haven't done so, I think you should do that, and you'll see that we really do have a unique identity here. And I'm part of it. My kids are part of it, and I'm not gonna say that we're post-national. What does that mean? Does post-national mean that global organizations are the ones that are actually going to control us? And I don't know what it means. You let me know in the description, in the comments. Please make sure you comment and let me know what that means to you. In 2017, the Russians tried to smear Krystia Freeland. There was a purported disinformation campaign. Her grandfather had links as a Nazi collaborator. Well, it turned out that, in fact, it was true. The Ottawa Citizen put this article out. Krystia Freeland's granddad was indeed a Nazi collaborateur, so much for Russian disinformation. And yet they had maintained for a long time previously that this was a smear job, that this was Russian misinformation. I'm just putting that out there so you can make up your own mind. Here's a quote from that article from the Ottawa Citizen in 2017. The Globe and Mail also reported that an official in Freeland's office denied the minister's grandfather was a Nazi collaborateur. In addition, the claims were dismissed outright by those in the Canadian-Ukrainian community. It is the continued Russian modus operandi that they have. Paul Grod, president of the Ukrainian Congress, told the Globe and Mail, fake news, disinformation, and targeting different individuals. It's just so outlandish when you hear some of these allegations, whether they're directed at Minister Freeland or others. Well, it turned out that it isn't so outlandish. Michael Chomiak was a Nazi collaborateur. I'm of the belief that the sins of the father or the grandfather don't reflect on the person today. You can't just, paint a person with that broad brush from whatever's happened in the past. Okay, you got to move on to a certain degree, no matter how heinous it is, but you got to own up to the reality. That's true. You can't say it was Russian disinformation. You can't lie about it. You got to come out with whatever it is, just to have that ethical, that accountability, and that integrity of character. But moving on from that, okay, she is a definite part of the WEF, and she's a strong part of the WEF, and it's not the first time that this has been raised as a potentially an issue. I'm going to show you an article here from the National Post, and you make up your own mind. So this is the National Post, 2021, February, so 1 year ago. Rupa Subramania, she says, Krystia Freeland's side gig with the WEF is endangering Canadian democracy. There is no need to invent conspiracy theories. The attempt by global elites to subvert local democracy is fully on and in plain view. Notably, she's the only government minister presently on the Board of Trustees. Remember that? She's on the Board of Trustees. What would happen if acting as a guardian for the WEF came into conflict with acting as a guardian for Canada's public finances, which is Freeland's day job? And I think this kind of leads into what's going on right now, okay, which is specifically basic income, Bill C-223, that kind of thing. So is that what the WEF wants? Is that best for Canadians in Canada? Or are we simply being implemented a plan from this other organization? And then it follows on the article. As a member of the Board of Trustees of Schwab's outfit, Freeland is implicitly or explicitly committed to importing this brand of European social democracy into a Canadian ethos, originally founded on individual rights and free market capitalism. That's Canada, which in turn is premised on maximizing shareholder value. That's capitalism. While Canada has drifted considerably leftward since its founding, a wholesale adoption of a corporatist philosophy and governance ethos imported from an exclusive gathering of the self-loathing rich who espouse these ideas over cocktails in the Swiss Alps would be nothing less than a subversion of Canadian democracy. And that's kind of where I feel we're at today. Today we find ourselves with what I believe is an imposition from the WEF, okay, from an organization that thinks that they know better than we do. We don't have so much control over our politicians. We know that a lot of them are actually connected or part of the WEF, and we're going to get into that in future videos. We've got basic income, like I said, it's Bill C-223 that I'm going to be analyzing. Going through, I think it's a really deep one. I think we got to look at it and see what that entails. Basic income, what's that going to do to our economy? I'm not an economist, I'm a programmer, but still, I want to explore it. It's very important to me that the country remains whole and strong and free so that my children can grow up here, and I know that your children as well, you want the same thing, right? They say that a great society is one when old men plant trees. Well, let's plant some trees. Hail, brethren. H for honor, A for accountability, I for integrity, L for loyalty. What do those things mean? Those are old virtues that we want to bring back here at the War Campaign. That's what H.A.I.L is all about. The War Campaign, originally founded to fight the culture war. You've seen moral degradation in movies, TV shows, comic books. We want heroes that we can believe in again. So we created the Vestige graphic novel right over here, this series. And then, of course, BULLETMAKER. BULLETMAKER, Post-Apocalyptic, Pre-Armageddon, action fantasy. If that sounds interesting, it's a great way to support us. Check it out. The link is inside of the description. I really appreciate it. Also, of course, wcfreedom.com right over here. Check that out. Sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss a beat. And, of course, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.